Hey, what's happening, guys? Dave Brown here with JamPlay.com, and it is week 9 of playing them changes. We are rounding the bend. We only got a couple chords left. We've actually covered all the chords. Now we're just kind of reassembling them in different order. So there's nothing that we haven't really practiced today, although, yeah, maybe going specifically from one chord to another chord is new, even though we've kind of covered all the positions already. Today's progression is a 6-5-4. Found in such classics as Gimme Shelter, All Along the Watchtower, Rolling in the Deep, a whole bunch of other songs too. We're in the key of D still, so that means we got a B minor, an A major, and a G major chord. If you're playing All Along the Watchtower, it's up in C sharp minor, so it's up a whole step. Hendrix was tuned down a half step, so I think it's in C, so it's only up a half step. Dave Matthews plays it in A minor, so it would be down a whole step. It just goes to show you how easily this stuff can be applied to other songs. However, those songs tend to move pretty quickly through the changes, and luckily, I've given you plenty of space to kind of roam and explore the sounds over these. There's a chart in there this week in the homework that I've put up before in the previous week, but it just kind of shows you what shapes line up if you want to play a specific progression in any of the 5 positions. So for instance, we're going to start with the A minor shape, go into the G major shape, go into the E major shape to play B minor, A, and E. So that's the way they always line up. So that's the way, that's how it would go. If you were to capo, it would be an A minor, go into a G chord, go into an F chord, kind of. There it is right there. So you can, it applies the same way every way. This is all redundant at this point. Hopefully you understand that. Again, you might find that you need a whole bunch of more time on some of this stuff. So don't overwhelm yourself. Maybe just play the changes first. I'm going to want to go through those a little bit. Just to kind of point it out, it's worth thinking about those shapes and not getting bogged down by all the information right off the bat. Maybe just staying on the top 4 strings. We're going to do the one-size-fits-all exercise today, but it's worth doing all of that. Just practicing, just the chord changes, or just the top 3-4 strings for the licks, or just the top 3 strings for practicing the pentatonic scales over these. There's many ways you can simplify things. For instance, we have a 6-5-4 today. We already practiced 5-4. Maybe go and review week 4 where we did 4 and 5. 6 to 5. We haven't really done. We've done 2 to 1, which is literally the same thing. However, we did it in the key of D, so that meant we went E minor to D. But I gave you multiple keys, and so B minor into A is the 6 to 5 in the key of D, which we are in today. However, in the key of A, that's also 2 to 1. So if you go back and you practice 2 to 1 in the key of A, you can spend some quality time with just 2 out of 3 of these chords. So the moral of the story, I know that was a lot of information thrown at you, but hopefully you understand that you can simplify these things and have a little more fun with it, because they're not all, these are not how the chords are always going to come at you. Sometimes they come in different orders. Sometimes they hold for a longer amount of time or a less amount of time. It's different every single time. So, you really want to take that into consideration when practicing these. And anyway, that's my spiel. Let's start with, you got the B minor with the A minor shape. The lick is going to start on that 2nd fret of the 5th string. And that one's just going straight up. So that one's pretty intuitive. The other one was. So we're starting on that 4th fret of the 3rd string. 3, 5 sliding into 6. 2 and 5 on the 1st string. Okay. And then we're going to the A chord with the G shape. So we're already on the high end, so we'll stay there. That one's starting on the 2nd fret, sliding into the 1st fret to the 2nd fret on the 2nd string. Pinky up to the 5th fret. 2nd fret, 5th fret on the top one. 5, 4, 2 on the way down. On the 3rd string. one starts on the 5th fret of the 6th string. 3 into 4, 2, 4, 2. Now we're on the low end, so we're going to stay on the low end for the G with the E shape. So we're starting on the 6th string with our middle finger, sliding 1 into 2, up to 5, 2 and 5, 6, 5, 3, and then way down. Starting on the 5th fret of the 4th string, sliding 3 into 4 on the 3rd string. Then you have 3 and 5 up to 3 on the 1st string. 3 slides into 2. Hopefully you know all these by now. We don't need to spend too much time, but I figured I'd just mention them really quick. Again, if you're just playing the progression, stay on the top 4 strings. Just go. You know, there's a lot of time spent on it. 4 bars is a decent amount of time. So again, you can punch it into chord bot. You could just play it with a drum beat. So you can go. Yeah, you can have fun just seeing if you can line up those top 4 strings. You know, I'd recommend it. But until then, let's hit up lesson, and by lesson I mean exercise number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what? I should have. Before we get started, the progression is 6, 5, 4, 6. So we're gonna have to hit up that 6 chord one extra time in a row. So it'll be the last chord we play and the first chord we play. Which means it's going to end on the lower end of it, and it's going to start on the lower end of it. So we'll end up playing that part twice. You should see it in the tab. Hopefully it's pretty intuitive. Here we go. There's a little extra room on the track, obviously, so you can keep going if you need to. Simply lining those up. But the good news is we've already practiced 4 to 5. You know, we're working on the 6 chord, so that's a little new, going from 6 to 5. But physically, you've already practiced those shapes when you did 2 to 1, just in a different key. And next week, we're going to do a 1-5-6-4, which is the most popular progression of all time, probably, arguably. And that, you know, again, we'll be going out of order in a little bit, but today we're practicing 3 out of those 4 chords. We already spent a whole time on the 1 chord, a whole bunch of time on the 1 chord. So, you know, it's good to do. You know what I'm saying? We'll worry about next week. Sometimes I like to start thinking about things, and then I don't know how to tell my brain to stop. So we're going to move on to the next position, which is going to start with that G minor shape. Okay. That's the lower one. The higher one starts on the same note as it was in the A minor position. That one's pretty comfortable. That's going to be our voicing for the B minor, stretching across fret 7 on strings 1, 2, and 3, plus the 4th fret on the 4th string. If we're trying to play that game where we're trying to establish where our next chord is via the root, again, we had our pinky on the 7th fret of the 6th string. Now we need to find an A chord, still on that 5th fret, but it's a middle finger now, so we're going to use that E shape, and then it's going to go down to the G. The G is a little lower. It's also here, which means we're going to go to that D shape position. So if we were just playing the chords, we do that for the B minor, we do that for the A with the E shape, and we do the D shape for that G chord. And if you notice, the G chord in the B minor, if you take a look at it, there's only a 1 note difference between those two. It's F sharp goes to a G, and then all of a sudden you got yourself a G chord. You know, let's take the top. It's a little convoluted when you add an extra string, but if we just look at the top 3 strings, you got 7, 7, 7, and G chord would be the D shape. So it's super close, and like again, that's what's worth pointing out with this stuff. Just seeing these very, very simple, very close things. So those kind of things that, you know, if somebody was to play this progression, if you sat down with a normal guitar player, they'd probably go. And that's fine. You probably want a rhythm player playing those chords because they're thick and full and it's consistent. But it's cool to know that you can go. Especially when you're out of tune, you know. It's pretty cool. We already went over the E shape in the last one, so we don't really need it. It's convenient. D shape, we're going to dip down into the lower 3rd fret on the 6th string, hop up to the 6th and 7th fret. Then we got 5 and 7, up to 5. That's going to be the lower one. The higher one's going to start on that 5th fret of the 4th string. 3rd fret slides into the 4th fret, up to the 7th fret. Then you have 5 and 8 on the 2nd string. That's going to switch around. You're going to come back to the 8th fret on the 4th string, 7th fret, 5th fret, and then you get that D shape on top. Again, you want to be able to. Just so you see those shapes, but let's go for the licks. Here's exercise number 2. Oops. Going to A. Extra bonus one anyway, because we only did 4 on the last one. That one was 5. That completed. There's 5 times thirds with the whole thing. Now you know. Great. So that's that position right there. We're moving up into the E minor position next. Classic, everybody's favorite. That's the lower end one, the higher end one. Okay. So those should be pretty comfortable for that one. Which means we're going to the A chord next, which means we just use the, you'll see how it works. We just played a G down here, so a G up a whole step is an A, so now we got the D shape again for the A. And that's going to line up nice with the C shape for the G. Again, if you're playing that game where you're trying to find the root for the B, there's your B minor right there, then we need to find an A. So it's a D shape, and then we need to find a G. That's going to be even lower, so it's going to be under a pinky, where your pinky on the 5th string is a C shape as opposed to... Pinky on the 5th string is the C shape relative compared to the A shape, which would be your middle finger, right? So if we're taking these voicings, you know, you would do this, and then you would do the D shape, and then you do the C shape. So those are the shapes in the line. I'm sorry, sometimes I talk a little. There's things that go off in the background. I'm not sure if like the noise creeps in, and so then I'm like, I gotta talk louder. I gotta talk faster so I can talk over it. Yay, amateur production. Okay, so as far as the licks that go over it, we already went over the E minor shape, and then we're going to the A. The D shape, and then we're going to go to the C shape, which we haven't visited yet today. That's only the one octave of the lick. So we'll do that one twice. Again, it's going to go low to high. So we'll end up here on the B minor, which is going to the A, so that's going to line up with this one right here. Which means that's going to line up, they're all going to line up with this. So, yeah, the C shape is just going to come back around just one time through on that lick before we resolve back. We'll still go high, low after that, so after the C shape, we'll go to the higher version of the B minor. So that we end up on the exact same one that we started on, and we'll do it all again because that's what we do. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. You get the idea. Sorry, I had a little liberty with it after that. Again, this lick is both of these lick are crafted to hopefully give you a sense of what can be done with the vocabulary, especially sliding into the third from the minor note, the minor third, and the blue note too in the minor version, technically. But you know, sometimes one of the students here wanted to just play the straight up pentatonic scale, and that's fine too. You know, again, you're trying to see it. So if the lick is giving you troubles or whatever, the goal of this course is to try and see it. So you can always simplify. I always recommend simplifying. Again, you can just go straight to the chord shapes. Hopefully those chord shapes help you see those pentatonics line up. Anyway, so that's that exercise number 3. moving on to exercise number 4. We just played the E minor shape, which means we have the D minor shape coming now. So let's just review that. We're going to have 2 octaves here. Again, we're going to borrow down below from the E shape. So there's going to be a lot of traveling. You can to hear how buzzy my E string is. We're going to have to get this guy set up. So again, that one's basically traveling on the 6th string most of the time. 7th fret, 10th fret, 12th fret, sliding into the 13th fret. And then you got 9 and 12 on the 5th string. Coming right back down. And we never make it down there. You got the lower voicing would be your middle finger on the 6th string, 10th fret, barring the 9th fret on the 5th and the 4th string, pinkies grabbing the 11th fret on the 3rd string. The higher voicing would again basically be that E shape, but with your pinky. Okay? We just played the C shape for the G chord, which means we're going to play the C shape for the A chord now. Okay? And then finally for a G chord, we're going to play the A shape, which we haven't done yet today, but it's very similar to the E shape, and that's again, sometimes it might even be worth just lining up the licks on the top 4 strings and just seeing how those line up the entire time. There's so many different ways to practice this, all creative niche ways to kind of really put the focus in on the treble spots. That's where it's at. Smooth it all out, make it happen. That's the lower end one. The higher end one starts on the 12th fret of the 3rd string, sliding 11 and 12. You got 10 and 12 on the 1st string, up to 15. And that's the last one for that. And that'll do it. And then we're coming back around. That'll line up with the higher one for the B minor. I think you get the idea despite my shortcomings. Let's hit it up, shall we? 2, 3, 4. full 5 that time just because I'm so sloppy. Again, if we're just lining up, again, always worth it. Even eventually to like, you know, not so bad. I just grabbed it all hastily, like. But yeah, you want to be able to jump around. I'm obviously playing the progression too fast, even for myself. Know your limits, okay? But yeah, you know, you want to see how they line up and maybe jump around like. Have fun. You can. Did I mention have fun? Did I mention explore? Did I mention have ADD like me? Apparently, yeah. You just really want to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Any way possible. Yeah. That's the goal. We're just. I feel like I'm talking on my butt right now sometimes, but you're just trying to be able to see all the options all the time. Lofty goal. Okay, we got one more position. We're going to the C minor shape. Sounds exact same shape as the lower end of the G minor shape. Just starting on the 5th string. This one, you know, you can try and grab that, but I would just recommend those 3. And then you have another one up top. You're going to start on the 2nd fret, or I'm sorry, the 2nd string, 12th fret. So. That's always worth pointing out. There's many ways to cut through the neck that kind of show you very consistent patterns. We're not going to get into that because that's not what this course is, but let me just point that one out really quick. You got E minor, then you go to the D minor shape, then you go to the C minor shape. Same thing. So it's worth kind of seeing that as it climbs up the neck, right? That's going to line up with our A position. For our actual A chord, and then G chord for our actual G chord. Which we've gone over all of them, so you kind of see how they line up. For this one, you know, I'd probably do this for the top 3. Maybe just, I mean, it just goes to show you how simple it could be when you're doing that. You know, it's basically straight across, but it's not. Now it is, and then you just lower the G to an F sharp to get back to the B minor. Just kidding. Okay. Again, we're starting off with that C shape, which is going to line up with the higher end of the A shape, which will line up with the lower end of the G shape, which will then come back around to that B minor again, before we hit up the low end to repeat it. Here we go. Last exercise. 1, 2, 3. starting this one over again, guys. I don't like it. We're doing the whole thing again. Sorry. Oh my gosh. You know, it's like I'm not looking at the paper in front of me, so I have to actually be present and thinking about things. Turns out that's half the battle. I'm going to take a sip of coffee for the greater good, and then I'm not going to screw it up this time. Here we go. Go for it. Yeah, so that was probably only 4, actually. I thought it was going to be 5. Hopefully it wasn't 3. Yeah, it was just 4. It felt like an eternity because I kept screwing up, and we've done that a whole bunch of times. But that's the idea, okay? Again, you're going to want to take the time to line up these pentatonics on the top 3 strings and have fun with it, because that's what the whole point of this course is. the point of this course is to see the shapes, but to eventually be able to play the pentatonics over them, which, probably doesn't seem like too big of a deal at this point. Hopefully you can kind of really see those. So let's just line up those top three really quick before we call it and take some questions. First position down below, 2-4-3-5-2-5. The C shape / A minor. Let's go into the G shape. So we're literally just lowering that one note between the 6 chord and the 5 chord. And then it's going to be the E shape on those top three. Okay? So 2nd fret, 4th fret, 3rd frets, and 5th frets. Let's just hear what that sounds like really quick. We don't have time to go through all this, actually. Yeah, forget it. So that's what it is. So when you go from the 6th chord into the 5 chord, there's a 1 note difference. 5 to 4, there's a big enough gap. Hopefully you've already practiced those already playing over the other one in week 4, going from 5 to 4. So hopefully those are pretty comfortable too. And then going from the 4 back to the 6th chord, that G is going to go to an F sharp. Again, just like the triad, it's just the G going to the F sharp. So hopefully this stuff is really starting to, it's not one huge mystery, that it's really just the same simple mystery playing out on different spots on the neck in slightly different shapes, even though it's the exact same thing. So yeah, you got those. The next group would be these. The A shape / E minor shape. And then you're going to your 4 chord. So that D is just going down a half step. I'm sorry, you're going to the 5 chord, the A chord. And then D shape for the G chord. That G goes to the F sharp. There it is again. Okay, next position would be classic position. Going to the D shape pentatonic. Finally C. Okay. You have the D minor shape, aka the E shape, which will go to the C shape. So when you go from the B minor to the C, C shape. When you go from the B minor to the A chord, it's just the D going to a C sharp. Again, this next jump is going to be big. So there's a couple note variants there. But then when you go back from the A shape pentatonic to D minor, it's just that G becomes F sharp. Same thing every time. It's good to point that out. Okay. One last position before we call it. You got the C minor shape, aka the D shape. And then we're just going to raise the F sharp. No, I'm sorry. We're going to the 4th chord. So the D is going to go to a C sharp, and that's all that's happening. Then we're going to the classic G position before we turn into that C minor position, aka D major. Hopefully, oh my gosh, my head hurts just thinking about all those things. But talking about it seems more complicated than it actually is. Hopefully, it all depends on how confident you are with these shapes. You know what I'm saying? Let's see if we have any questions. Hopefully we do. Hopefully we don't, actually, so you're not confused. But let's see.
Boys and girls, it's about that time for taking the questions. You're taking the questions. You're taking the questions. Let's see what. Hopefully, I didn't completely confuse. Cheap tricks. I know it's not really part of the lesson, but are you? Oh my gosh. Are you hybrid picking these exercises at the times? Could you show us how you're doing that? No, I think I'm picking them all. Yeah, I'm actually picking them all. I think. Yeah, we'll just say maybe I might throw my middle finger in there sometime. But no, I'm basically picking them. So, good question. But N/A. We'll mark that one as N/A. Oh, and blues, boats. I should know that. I can't read. Apparently, I can't read. How many hours approximately would you need to spend with this for it to become second nature? Yeah, a lot. We'll just say a lot. It's a question of what you're trying to specifically accomplish. The licks are, crafted so that you can see these scales and how they play out. But ultimately, the goal isn't to play the scale or the lick straight up. You want to eventually get creative with these and be able to line up the pentatonic scales and have fun with it. So a lot. Don't beat yourself up if it feels like it's taken forever to kind of get some of this stuff down. It's like a bottle of wine. The more years, we're talking years, months, years. It could be a while before you're a professional level guitar player that can really play these changes in every position. What kind of guitar is this? Excellent question. This is a G&L Legacy, a very inexpensive option for rocking out. I replaced the pickups. I had bought a thin line telly with P90s in it, and I put, these are TV Jones and P90 casings, Classic and Classic Plus. And I put it in that, but that guitar ultimately wasn't that great. And so I put these in here thinking it would be pretty cool. I like it. It wasn't exactly what I was hoping it would be. So I'm thinking about pulling this thing apart and maybe doing something else with it. But we'll see if I'll get shit done. And that is it for questions, guys. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you guys next week for the final round of this here course. Playing them changes.